Some exhaustion doesn't come from work, but from trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed. You feel this in the quiet moments when your thoughts replay conversations you never should have had, when your chest tightens from carrying problems that were never yours to solve. You try to help, you try to explain, you try to guide, and each attempt drains a little more of your spirit, a little more of your hope, a little more of the strength you needed for yourself. The exhaustion doesn't scream. It seeps, soft, constant, invisible. The kind of tiredness that settles behind your eyes and inside your breath, a weight you can't point to, but always feel. Caleb stands alone in an abandoned train yard, the kind where silence feels heavier than sound. Old wagons rest on cold rails, each one frozen in its place, each one a monument to destinations they failed to reach. Rust clings to metal like old wounds that never healed. The wind drags pieces of dry grass along the gravel. It feels like the quiet residue of old arguments, old expectations, old attempts at saving people who never wanted to stand on their own feet. Caleb closes his eyes for a moment, listening to the hollow echo of the place, and something inside him mirrors it, that same emptiness that grows every time he tries to fix someone who chooses not to move. He walks toward a freight car with a crooked door. It hangs off its rail, slightly open, slightly shut, but refusing to align with anything. He places his hands on it and pushes, gently first, then firmly, then with more strength. Nothing changes. The door stays tilted, stubborn, committed to its own misalignment. Caleb steps back, dust on his palms, breath forming a small cloud in the cold air, and the truth rises in him like a quiet, painful clarity. Some people cannot be fixed because they do not want to be, and no amount of care, patience, or sacrifice will change that. You know this truth, too. You've tried to reason with someone who hears only what fits their fears. You've tried to support someone who uses your help as an excuse to stay broken. You've tried to love someone who treats healing like an enemy. And each time you gave more, they changed less. Each time you tried harder, they resisted deeper. You weren't helping them. You were abandoning yourself. Caleb steps between two rails and looks down their length. Perfectly straight, perfectly rigid, perfectly honest. They run parallel, never meeting, no matter how far they stretch. And something about that image hits him. You can walk beside someone, you can guide them, you can speak softly and kindly, but some lives will never intersect with growth. Some people cling to their patterns like armor. Some people hold on to their pain because it's the only identity they've ever known. Trying to change them is like begging two parallel lines to touch. A waste of time, a violation of geometry. He passes a wagon covered in rust. The metal flakes off lightly when he brushes it with his hand, staining his fingertips. And he realizes, when you try to clean someone who doesn't want to change, you don't purify them. You contaminate yourself. Their rust becomes your burden. Their chaos becomes your atmosphere. Their confusion becomes your sleepless nights. He moves into an old control cabin. The interior is dim, broken glass scattered across the floor like failed moments of clarity. The moonlight creeps in through the shattered windows, outlining dusty levers once used to move entire machines. Caleb doesn't touch them, he only observes, and a single thought forms. Control was never out there. It was always here, inside himself, neglected, ignored, traded away for people who never asked for his effort. The levers of his own emotional life were left untouched while he tried to pull the levers of someone else's destiny. A cracked mirror sits in the corner. When he looks at it, he sees himself split into a dozen fractured reflections, tired in one shard, hopeful in another, disappointed in another, strong in another. He kneels, picks up one piece and studies it, and suddenly he understands. When you focus on fixing others, you lose sight of the fractures inside yourself. You forget that your job is not to repair the world. Your job is to realign your own soul. He steps outside, mirror shard in hand, the cold air biting at his skin. Blaming others is easy. Blaming them for being stubborn, for being chaotic, for being self-destructive. Blaming them for not listening, for not growing, for not appreciating the help you offered. But Caleb feels something calmer, deeper, more honest rising inside him. The world is not against him. People are not obstacles. They are simply living the consequences of their own choices, and he must live the consequences of his. Sometimes the healthy thing is to blame yourself gently, not to punish, but to regain control. To say, I allowed too much. I tried too hard. I abandoned my boundaries. I poured into someone who let everything spill. And sometimes the wisest step is to blame no one at all. To stop creating villains and victims. To stop needing a story where someone is wrong and someone is right. To simply accept that lives collide, drift, change, separate. Caleb keeps walking, feet crunching against gravel. The air grows colder, sharper. He passes more wagons, each one silent, each one frozen, each one loyal to its own direction. People are like that too. Some will disappoint you, some will hurt you. Some will never understand the depth of what you offered, not because of you, but because that is their pattern. When you finally accept who someone truly is, beyond your expectations, beyond your hope, beyond your illusions, you stop bleeding energy trying to make them different. He moves between two towering cargo wagons. Their shadows swallow him whole. In that darkness, he feels the old impulse rise, the urge to fix, to confront, to force change, to beg someone to understand, to shout the truth into a mind that refuses to hear. But instead of stepping forward, he steps back. He lets the shadow cover him like a cloak, not to hide, but to observe, to breathe, to detach. His breath leaves his mouth in a pale cloud, fading into the air like the anger he finally refuses to carry. Calm is not weakness. Calm is power under control. Calm is choosing clarity over noise. Calm is refusing to set yourself on fire just because someone else refuses to see the light. Two rails extend into opposite directions. They never meet. And for the first time, Caleb feels peace instead of frustration. Some people walk paths you cannot follow. Some people choose distance. Some people choose darkness. Some people choose confusion. And you do not have to chase them. You do not have to redirect their road. You do not have to lose yourself trying to keep them from losing themselves. Far in the distance, a lone wagon shifts slightly in the wind, empty and slow. Caleb watches it without moving. He does not chase. He does not call out. He does not hope it returns. He lets it go. That is the freedom he had been avoiding, accepting what is already leaving. In the center of the yard, he finally stops. Dawn begins to rise, pale light crawling over metal and weeds like a timid truth. Nothing around him has changed. The yard is still abandoned. The trains are still broken. The silence is still heavy. But inside him, something has shifted. For the first time in a long while, he is not trying to fix anything. Not a person. Not a situation. Not a memory. Not a ghost. He understands now the real struggle was never to repair broken doors or reshape stubborn minds or explain himself to the deaf. The real struggle was to govern his own reactions, to choose where his energy goes, to guard his peace from unnecessary fires. Some people collapse because they want to. Some people grow because they choose to. And your job is neither to collapse with them nor to drag them forward. Your job is to master yourself. The broken world around Caleb didn't need repair. His inner world did, and now it is calmer, quieter, more his own. Your strength begins the moment you stop forcing others to change and start shaping your own responses. Your peace begins when you allow others to follow their own fate, while you walk your own with dignity. Your freedom begins when you stop expecting clarity from those who choose confusion. Here is the truth you needed today. You were not born to fix people. You were born to understand yourself, master yourself, and protect your inner world from unnecessary suffering. If this story opened a quiet space inside you, another one waits just ahead, deeper, darker, and ready to guide your next step.